Hello, hello. Oh, baby! Thank you! And I beat Frank.
Oh my god!
Beat Frank.
Jesus, what the mic? Oh my god!
Hit that shit, bitch!
Hello. This is a completely no. Are we ready to start? Are we good?
I'm ready when you are.
All right. Hello. This is the completely inappropriate podcast, everybody. My name is Tony, along with Mr.
Frank.
And we are here today to let you know to find us at completelyinappropriatepodcast@gmail.com with any comments, questions, concerns. That's the podcast on Instagram at completelyinap with 1P on Twitter at BitChute, YouTube, wherever you find us, you have found us. Leave us a 5-star review and tell us how much you love us, because we love you. We love you infinitely. So come infinitely love us back. Frank, how you doing, buddy?
I'm, normally I'd say,
Okay.
I'm okay.
Exactly.
With that
like
little
that.
pause.
Why do you do that? I'm okay. What is it? Where did you pick that up from?
No, because,
Seriously, it's annoying.
because,
But I like it now.
I think back, I'm like, how am I doing? I'm like, should I say okay?
Like when
Yes,
your
I'm
girlfriend
doing
starts
okay.
pinching your nipples during sex, you don't really like it at first, but then she keeps doing it, and eventually you get used to it, and then it's like, well, I kind of like it now. That's how I feel about your. I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I've explained it to people. I'm like, well, the reason why I say I'm okay is because nothing exciting has happened. Nothing fucking horribly depressing has
How
happened.
exciting do you need life to be?
As long as my adrenaline can take it, because when I came back from Iraq, I came back with shakes, and that's because of the it was explained to me that the reason why we have shakes when we leave country or after combat is because of the adrenaline rush, that we have so much adrenaline.
Sure,
and
it's you're constantly pushing to be excessively on alert all the time.
yeah, and then so then you're leaving
not
country,
excessive.
right? But your body is already used to
The adrenal dump.
that it starts.
Yeah, as soon as you wake up, your heart starts beating 100 miles a minute.
Yeah,
just
it's
to try
like
and keep up.
adrenaline withdrawals.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh,
So because of that, you found...
oh no, I'm saying that maybe that's a little too much excitement for the civilian world, but
Could be. So are there... so I'm curious. You know how we always see on movies like Point Blank? Do you remember that with John Cusack? He, as a teenager, he gets picked up by the CIA. So he gets trained to be an assassin, and then he leaves the CIA and becomes a government contractor to perform hits on people. And then he's just a contract. It turns into a hitman from working for the government to the CIA. So, to be a hitman. So, is that something? Do you feel like that would have been an option for you at one point? Maybe when you first came back, do you think you would have been able to be roped into that kind of line of work?
that actually was an option.
It was an option.
When I was in Kuwait, they were asking my unit. I had people come up to me and be like, "Hey, you should go sign up, be a contractor," because I was like, "Are we fucking high school?" Because they were like, "Hey, the career counselor, I think it's called, the career counselor is here. You should go. They're looking for contractors." And I thought, my
being
dumbass,
from the Rio Grande Valley,
I thought contractor
surrounded by a bunch of men who often work in construction.
Yes, that's
That
what
being a contractor meant you were gonna go on sites and
construction, like work
draw
for
out building plans and shit. You thought you were gonna be a structural engineer and shit, right? You fucking bad shit motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck no, I don't want
That's
to be
what
a
happens when you have
contractor.
16, 18-year-olds joining the fucking military. Jesus Christ. So what happened there? How do you know anybody that ended up taking that? So our late friend Serge, may he rest in peace. Serge? No, Santiago. Jesus Christ,
okay.
may he rest in peace.
Mhm.
I mean Serge too, but I don't know who the hell that is. So, did you ever get any stories out of him while he was still alive? I assume that it would be okay.
No,
to talk
because
about.
his PTSD was at the level where he couldn't even watch action movies.
Yeah, he was very sensitive about bringing things that you could see his eyes switch over whenever he thought about it just a little bit. You know what I mean? You don't have those kind of issues though.
I used to, and it was to a point where I couldn't play the Call of Duty games because I started shaking.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
I was always curious about those Call of Duty games, how people felt about them that were actually in service. Like, how do you feel about kids playing them like all willy nilly, like it's just fun?
Oh well, I
It
each
is.
their own.
I mean, it is just fun. Let's
Yeah,
be real.
my issue with it has always been that it's not enough. I'm over
really?
here thinking simulator. Which, speaking of which,
A simulator would be cool, man.
Yeah.
Especially now with the haptic feedback suits. You imagine getting shot and
Yeah.
actually like having like needles drive into your skin, just so you feel the sensation of like burn, or like a heating element that like burns you and shit, where you get fucking shot. Now I know that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, but that's the kind of haptic feedback I want.
yeah,
If we're gonna do it, let's do it.
yeah.
Wait till that Neuralink kicks in and we got some real badass fucking just neural feedback instead of haptic feedback, and then you're feeling pain without actually causing any damage to your body, with the exception of the pain that you feel actually causing psychological damage now.
Yeah. So with this Call of Duty game that came out,
Tangent. sorry.
yeah, the not the one that's coming out Friday. I think Friday, but the one that
Cold War?
Modern Warfare. Yeah, there's when it was coming out, there were game journalists talking about how some even wanting to ban it because it was too strong. That there was a scene.
God, people are such fucking bitches.
Yeah, there was a scene that was too strong, and I'm like, oh fuck, well, I'm playing this. So then I went ahead and I bought it, I played it, and then after I played it, I came to find out that that scene that was so strong was the Paris scene. And I'm like, really? That's strong for you? I'm like, I wonder why. I'm like, oh, well, it's probably because it kicks off with an IED in the middle of fucking Paris. And you know, it's been on the news, situations like that. So that's probably where they get that, oh, it was so strong.
It's too close to an actual... Because there was a game... I wish I remembered what it was, but it was supposed to be released in 2001 when 9/11 happened, and it had the Twin Towers in it actually being attacked. Because I think it might have been a Call of Duty game or something like that, like Call of Duty Homefront or something, I think.
Probably.
It may not have been that game, but they had to pull it from the shelves but that was home turf kind of shit. Like, they had just had the Twin Towers blow up, and then they had a video game coming out that year where the Twin Towers were being attacked. I understood the necessity there. But, I mean, as far as historical events go, how can you argue it, man? I mean, it's still shit that happened. Like, now it's 20 years later, it's, you know, a dozen years later after 9/11, and I think now you still couldn't get away with putting it in a video game, could you? I mean, people are arguing about everything. No, I don't get it. We've got violent pornography on the fucking television every fucking day, like that fucking System of a Down song fucking back in early 2000s. And like violent pornography on your TV all the goddamn time, but we're complaining about it being in our video games. Mm-hmm. Like, at least the video games come with the fucking maturity rating on there. Yeah, warning you, exactly. TV, you just fucking turn it on, flip the channel, you don't get a warning. Well, if you happen to catch it before the movie started, you might get the warning then, but it's not like during every commercial or every time they come back, they're like, if you're a child, please leave the room. This has viewing material that is not suitable for your eyes. Like, it's a stupid thing, right? Shouldn't even, whatever, man. Whatever, this whole anti-porn, anti-violence shit, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, you can't just get rid of porn and violence on the internet. Try and regulate it, sure. I agree with that to a degree. But it's fucking life. What do you know what they called this back in the fucking 1800s, early 1900s? They call it book burning. They fucking would burn massive piles of books, and now they're doing it again. Now we're doing it again. We're burning books, we're burning movies, we're burning celebrities at the fucking stake. Because you don't fucking agree with them. Now, pedophiles, fuck them. Chop their dicks off, slice their tits off, serve them on a platter to the children they were raping. But other than that, How do you get rid of Michael Jackson's fucking back catalog? How do you get rid of all the movies that Harvey Weinstein was a part of creating when they were such massive fucking masterpieces before he was fucking caught or at least called out? What do you got to say?
100 years ago, it was risque for a woman to show her fucking ankles. What do you think?
Ooh, unless you were a leech getter.
Leech getter.
Yeah, that you had to be a leech collector.
Oh,
They probably wouldn't even hire them. They would just force them. The young maidens that worked for the royalty and shit, they would have these ladies go out bare-legged, out into the swamps or whatever, collect all the dozens of leeches on their bare legs, walk out, take them off, and then they'd use them for bloodletting. Now, obviously, these women would die often of dysentery or some sort of disease walking into a dirty swamp and getting open wounds by leeches. So it's not exactly a job you'd like to have. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
but so not all. I'm just saying, not all women had to cover up all the time. There were women with liberties, mostly the ones without liberties.
Yeah. So imagine what the people back then, if they jumped on a TARDIS and came to today, imagine what they would
they'd
think.
love it, man. Leeches now are fucking grown in a lab for... That's a thing again. Did you know that? Like in holistic healing, people are using leeches again for bloodletting.
Well, I know there's little ass fish that are like less than an inch.
Oh, are you talking about the ones for pedicures?
Yeah.
Yeah, they eat the dead skin off the feet. That's a good one. But at least you don't have... There's not the little Asian ladies like scraping it off with one of those pet eggs that you used to see in the late night infomercials. Yeah. I used to love those things. I always wanted a pet egg. I've always had delicious feet, though. My feet are fucking beautiful. I run miles, dude. I don't understand it. I have perfect, beautiful feet for a man. I don't get it. Except for my hair. I'm a little bit hairy. I got a little bit of that hobbit hair toe. But... when I trim it, I got pretty feet. I don't trim my toes.
You should probably start an OnlyFans for your feet.
I don't think they do it for men. If I shaved my feet and just pretended to be a woman, I think I could do it.
Your feet don't look feminine, though.
I bet they would if I shaved off all the hair.
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think? Would you do that? Would you ever start an OnlyFans?
Yes.
Just start showing
I've
your
been
nipples?
Thinking that. I'm like, because there are some guys
be
on
like a
OnlyFans,
cake smasher or something.
But I'm like, this is easy money. OnlyFans for my feet, but fucking feet have always been hideous.
Oh no, your feet are like
horrendous.
No, there's hobbit feet. And then what are they called? Orcs? There's orc feet. You're definitely in the orc spectrum of the hobbit feet because they're still hobbit-like, but they've got orcness to them that is just disgusting. I've never seen toenails so thick. I've never seen talons so... What's the word I'm looking for? Just dangerous looking? It's mildly offensive the way that you only wear flip-flops too. And you don't bother to take care of your toes at all. What is the reasoning behind this?
No,
how can you expose your toes to the world on a daily basis and not do anything about it?
No, I do.
I pity the damn woman who has to fucking pedicure that shit. Have you ever had a pedicure?
Once or twice.
I've never had one. Are they great?
Well, not a professional pedicure, but like, getting the little stone and the brush, doing that.
I've never even done that.
Yeah, I've done that to myself.
I have just trimmed them very carefully. And I only started doing that because one time I had an ingrown toenail at like 17, maybe 16. And my mom had to take me to the doctor to get it cut off. It didn't hurt too. But the worst part of it is that they stick that shot right underneath your fucking toenail to numb the area. It's the worst goddamn part of it. Of course, it's fine 5 seconds later as long as you can grit your teeth and bear it. But yeah, man, those are some jobs I would not want to have. A fucking general general practitioner or whatever, your personal doctor that just has to deal with your like bullshit, like, okay, turn your head and cough, gotta feel your testicles, and then the next week they gotta pull your fucking toenail out. Like, Jesus Christ. I know those doctors make some money, but what do you think about that? Having a job where you just gotta fucking deal with people's fucking problems all day, whether it be a fucking general practitioner or a psychologist, even those types of jobs.
Well, psychologists wouldn't be that bad because I tell mine.
You don't think so?
Because you're a professional best friend.
You're not very empathetic, though.
Yeah.
You don't like absorb people. I think that's what you would actually make a remarkable psychologist or psychiatrist.
Well, if I'm psychoanalyzing, I think I could pull it off.
I think you could, because you're very good at removing yourself, like, emotionally from whatever they're telling you. Because you don't react to anybody's emotions like normal people. You're very stoic. I mean, you just separate it. You're very good at that. I personally am way too empathetic. Somebody starts telling me their problems, I just want to hold them and tell them it's okay. And that's not always the best solution for people, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if you need a clean record to do that. You should look into it.
Well, you need about 12 years of college.
Well, and you can't have to be a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, right? Because
Right.
a psychologist actually prescribes medication.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed around pills. Pill scripts, rather. Like a prescription pad.
Yeah.
Not for you, no. Now, have you ever had an issue with your medications, feeling an addiction to them, or feeling like you were really reliant on them?
No, not an addiction. And the only problem was that, my incident, my felony, that the
Of course.
doctor said it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks, or 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to something.
It seems like you just underestimated the severity of the damn side effects of those goddamn things.
Yeah, because she said that it was going to make me feel worse before it makes me feel better.
That's gnarly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept telling myself, I'm like, you're almost there. Just wait a little bit longer. Nope, I couldn't hold it.
We all lived through some shit, man. I haven't been through half the life that you led by that age, going through the military the way you did and seeing what you had to go through. I'm surprised you even came back normal enough. I'm surprised you're even here sitting to me being able to hold a conversation without fucking glossing over. I mean, your eyes do definitely gloss over when I'm talking, but that's for a different reason completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. So while we're on this fucking tangent, man, what are some other jobs? I'm just curious now. We're talking about jobs that have been like fucking just shit fucking jobs. What are some jobs that you couldn't imagine doing? So you were offered to be a fucking hitman. So let's say that was an option now. Would you be able to do it now, do you think? For the same reason you could be a psychologist, because you could just remove yourself emotionally?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't believe in killing, but train me, then I guess
what do you mean? I don't believe in it, but I will for money? That's so stupid. No, same reason before, like I said before, why I couldn't. I'm too empathetic, man. Empathic. I'd feel like a part of me died if I had to kill somebody. I guess, I don't know. I mean, if for money, not for.
Yeah.
It's different for like the country, for your family, shit like that. Like, but to strictly do it for a financial gain, that's a little janky.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to admit though, there's plenty of people that join the military knowing that they're gonna have to be put in that situation, and they do it just for the money.
Yep.
Or the housing. Was that a factor for you, or did you go in just strictly wanting to be a service to your country?
I was hoping to die, but
you
that
really
didn't
were.
work
That's
out.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot you've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I think I was too. Like when I initially tried to convince my parents to let me sign up, I was still 16 or so, like under the age to do it myself. And so they came and talked to me. You're not doing that. Like, but I want to. And it was basically, I had the same thought. Like, well, I want to go in because I want the option to die.
Yeah, but I wanted to die for my country.
For the country. Yeah. No, you want to die with purpose.
Because I'm depressed.
Die with purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, because At that age, you don't know what your future has. You don't know that you have anything to offer to the world. They make it seem like everything you need to aspire to needs to be the fucking president of the United States. You need to be a Fortune 500 company, make fucking billions of dollars, and start fucking foundations to help the youth. You know, you need to make that kind of impact on the world to be worth a fuck.
Yeah, you need to be
That's what we're raised like in here. First world fucking problems, right? Because we're raised in the United States. We're expected to fucking reach our potential. Like, but bitch, some of us don't have any fucking potential. At least not to that aspect. Like, my potential, I realized within the last few years, is to help people on an individual, one-on-one basis just find fucking beauty and just discourse. Just, I can treat people well in a manner of conversation that I haven't seen other people do. Like, I'm not surrounded by people that know how to communicate clearly, concisely, and with love. You know, I'm surrounded by people that are very aggressive with their speech patterns, and their opinions matter more to them oftentimes than the people that they're talking to. And I decided that my impact on the world is going to be affecting these people. And maybe by the end of my relationship with them, whether it be death, taxes, or fucking evasion that separates us, that I am going to impact them to help them realize that they can be just a little bit kinder to people. Just a little bit. Just try and be a little bit more empathetic.
So your perfect job is being a psychiatrist?
No, my perfect job is being a cult leader and telling people how to love each other. That's why I started this yoga thing. It's not because I want people to feel better. I just want them to follow me into the depths of Hades.
Yeah, it's a start.
No, man, that's why I started the yoga thing legitimately. It's because I just want to help people communicate with themselves and really to help them just hone in on what it means to give a shit again. Yeah, about themselves and about the people around them.
So, you know how the king had a guy there to wipe his ass?
I do know that, actually.
Yeah, so there is a job, speaking of military, I don't know if it's military, but there is a job where you have to pick up the president's poop from the toilets.
That's still a thing?
Yes.
So yeah, the president's pooper scooper. I can't believe that's still a thing, right? Because this was a thing back in medieval times, like you said. It was the shit heel, the wiping boy.
Yep.
And yeah, he would have to not only because kings were thought of as divine, so that job was actually a position of prestige, dude. Like royal, not royals. Well, yeah, royals. The people of a higher caste.
Yeah, if you were a peasant, you'd aspire to be
you would
king's
aspire
ass
to wipe
wiper.
the king's ass because the king was God.
Yeah.
I mean, it was decreed by the Lord himself that these people were put in a. In some cases, the king was considered God, like it was an extension of God.
Yeah.
Before their local church took over and reminded them, nope, it's us. So, yeah, they would have to not only carry the fucking chamber pot, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, there wasn't actual toilets back then. It was just a fucking pot you pissed in, which is where the phrase comes from, don't have a pot to piss in. So the wiping boy would go fucking carry the pot, let the king defecate, wipe his ass for him, then he'd carry that pot over and go through it with a nice little fork or stick and make sure that there was nothing unhealthy in the poop. Make sure that he's healthy. So you're telling me they still do that for the president of the United States? Yeah,
because apparently, I'm like,
they are collecting the president's shit.
Yeah, I don't see how, but apparently you can get DNA off of the president's poop, and I'm referring to a Spider-Man comic, but you can make what?
Oh, this is a Cold War era, like CIA operatives kind of way to try and kill the president, or like try and kill world leaders, right?
Yeah, like
they thought that they would take the microbiome and find out a way to make a specific poison that would only affect the individual.
Yeah, that was in the Spider-Man comic.
Is that a real thing, though?
Apparently,
can't be real.
I don't know. Like, would you
make
risk
a
it?
Specific poison. What? I mean, yes. Yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. If you're willing to go through the work, you deserve to be able to kill me. Jesus Christ. If you can get poison in my food of any kind, what does it matter if it's specifically for me or not? Like, I wouldn't. Yeah, Jesus, no.
Yeah, but in the Spider-Man comic, it was a bomb. It was a bomb, and it'll only... No, yeah, a bomb that would release a gas, and that gas would only affect people of that DNA. And so then, if I remember correctly... what?
No, it wasn't the wiping boy. It was the groom of the stool. That was the official title. The groom of the stool! Please, the groom of the stool! The king must take a shit! What a fancy-ass title. Literally, fancy-ass title. No, I was thinking of the whipping boy. You know who the whipping boy was?
Yeah, the guy with the whip.
No.
What?
No. So, let's say the king was out to war, right? Mm-hmm. Or the king was out on a delegation meeting, whatever. The son's at home, the prince is at home. Kind of a dick. He accidentally, let's say, he gets pissed off and kills his fucking assistant, or what do they call it? Slave. Like, he's got a slave. Gets mad hits him a little too hard, kills him. Well, what are you gonna do? You gotta reprimand the prince, right? I mean, you've gotta let this kid know what he did was wrong. You gotta spank him, but you can't spank royalty. You can't take the son of God, basically, because the king is supposed to be an extension of God. The son is the next in line. Yeah. So who's going to do it? Only the king is allowed to do it, but the king is out. So what do? Well, apparently there was something known as the whipping boy, who was basically the substitute ass for the prince. And the whole idea was they would whip this kid in front of the prince, saying, "This is what you've made me do. How dare you act this way? Now this poor boy must take a whipping." And the kid would be all red ass. And this is supposed to be like, unfortunately, when you're a prince and you don't really have to answer for anything, everybody ends up like Frank with no empathy. And it had no effect. So that's why you ended up having these fucking princes like fucking King Henry, the whatever the number, that ends up being like that fucking little blonde boy from Game of Thrones that everybody wants to kill.
King Joffrey.
Joffrey, yeah.
That was his name.
Oh my god, how satisfying was it when King Joffrey died?
I never saw Game of Thrones.
Oh, you ball-licking, cock-sucking mother of fuck.
I am.
Yeah, you would. Yeah? You want me to whip him out, whipping boy? Hold on. Groom of the stool? I need to defecate before I enjoy this next task. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Fuck, dude. There's some shit. The medieval times was not fun to people.
Nope. It was pretty cruel. But, yeah, that's why they say
it's not like it got any better.
Is.
It's not like it's gotten any better. Then we get to like the Industrial Revolution. And during the Industrial Revolution, you end up having a bunch of fucking people building all this crap. All this metal is getting just fucking thrown out. Metal scraps are thrown out in the yards and shit because there were no fucking real landfills. There wasn't any real fucking trash compacting facilities or anything like that at the beginning of this Industrial Revolution. So you'd have people that would go around, they call them mudlarkers or whatever, and they were the poorest of the poor people that would go to the riverbanks outside of these factories and just scrounge up all these little metals and whatever materials they can, just thrown away from these workers leaving the factory and tracking things out. And you know, all this waste stuff is, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Just like today, like my neighbor the other day, these kids don't have anything to do all fucking school year now. They're done, you know, the amount of classwork that they're given during the day is fucking bullshit. Like they're done in an hour. So these kids are going with their dad to go pick up like fucking refrigerators on the side of the road and stripping the copper out of it. And the dad didn't tell him to do that. It's like, my son just had the idea. He's like, hey, can we pick that up? I want to take it apart. And I thought it was a clever idea. Let him learn, you know, how to take things apart. Maybe he'll learn how to put... He ended up fucking stripping it for copper so he could return it for cash. Mm-hmm. Like, one huge thing there is good on the kid, man. I mean, I didn't have that fucking ambition at fucking 13, 14 years old. That's clever. But two... That was actually the only way to sustain life for a while, and it's still that way in places like India and places like Pakistan and Iran on the outskirts, even here in Mexico just south of us, here in the United States, in the fucking in LA right now, in the fucking hobo district of fucking what do they call it? Skid Row, yeah. Like, that's all those people are doing. They just walk around, scrounge with the can off the floor or off of each other, begging for pennies. Life doesn't get better. We trick ourselves into thinking we're better, but we're no better today than we were hundreds of years ago. We just have a hell of a lot more shiny things around us.
Mm-hmm.
But the poor, the poor class in this world, it's always been the same. It's never changed.
I have Metallica stuck in my head now.
Why?
Whipping Boy.
You fool. I don't know, man. What jobs would you have said fuck no to, man? I mean,
well,
is there anything that you could think of that would have been fucked up for, or even now is still fucked up?
Well, the wiping the king's ass would been like, fuck no. I don't care if I get to live in a castle. I'm not doing that shit. What else?
That's not that bad though, because look at it now. You've got nurses that work at old folks' homes. They're wiping ass every day. Every fucking day. Wiping ass and bathing fucking geriatric people with cold sores and shit. Bed sores.
Bed sores.
You got these 275-pound fucking 90-year-old women that were 400 pounds just 5 years ago. Now they're wasting away, and they still weigh twice, my size. And then they're fucking bed sores because they can't get up, and they gotta wash them all stinky and shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that inappropriate? I felt I was getting a little gross there. I just leaned into it.
I think it comes with the territory of being a nurse.
And that just is what it is. I mean, same thing for there's kids that are whatever.
But yeah, there's kids.
There are kids.
Yeah,
kids exist. I was going down a dark path. I didn't want to start talking about the kids that needed their ass wiped their whole life. That's enough said there, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, nurses have it hard. God bless our nurses, if you believe in God.
Especially nowadays. With the whole Rona assist thing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. Rat catcher here.
Rat catcher.
Yeah, there were rat catchers. There's another job from medieval times that was kind of shit. Because there weren't quite as many rat traps back then. And not as many scruples in the restaurant industry. So people would go out, they'd cover their hands in like honey and fucking nuts and shit to attract the rats. This is it, they have to grab them, right? But then, of course, we all know rats carry like bubonic plague and all these fucking diseases. So I wouldn't want to have that job, but it was an actual job, man, catching rats by hand.
Yeah.
And you sell the live ones to the unscrupulous fucking restaurants.
Yeah, no, because fucking there's a stupid game. It's not stupid. It's pretty fucking awesome. But
what is it?
Yeah, it's Red Dead Redemption.
I knew that was gonna be the stupid fucking game.
No, because there's a scene where you go into a restaurant and you have to kill the rats.
Kill the wabbit.
Yeah, so you're over here with your 6-shooter shooting fucking rats in a fucking restaurant. Because when you said a rat catcher, that was the first thing that came to my mind was a possum trap. But then you explaining how they would catch them, I'm like, just shoot them.
No, well, you'd want them alive because you shoot them and then you can't travel with them. If you could catch them, not only could you then breed them, right, and make your job a lot easier if you're trying to raise, but what you would want to do is catch them alive and sell them to the restaurants alive because they would kill them as fresh meat because they didn't have refrigeration back then. And there wasn't the ice boxes of the 1700s. This is medieval times. Like ice, nobody was traveling from the colder climates with ice boxes or ice wagons. I
thought you were going with you got to catch them alive so you can go to the next town
no.
and release the rat in the restaurant and be like, I'll catch it for you.
Christ, no, that's the 1900s practice, I think, when restaurants were like that. Yeah. Or early 2000s even. Shit, even now, people are fucking trying to do scams like that. That's a hell of a job. How about a scam artist? How much of a dream is it to scam people like that out of like hundreds of dollars a day? Low fucking rent kind of scams, not like Bernie Madoff kind of shit. I'm talking about like Matchstick Men with fucking Nicolas Cage kind of fucking scams. You know what I mean? Where you like, ma'am, I just won $300 on this ticket that I found on the floor, but I'm not of age to cash it. Tell you what, give me $100 now, and I'll give you the ticket, and you can cash this in later. And it's a fake ticket or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's one of these scenes from Matchstick Men. So that what would you do about that? Would your conscience get to you, do you think?
Apparently, I was working for these scam people when I was selling electricity. Cause
pyramid scheme, or it was just not a real electric company?
Oh,
explain it. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But, yeah, because my last potential customer, after I did all the fucking work going to and fro, fucking sweating my ass off, yeah, she showed me, she's like, no, thank you. And she showed me that my company was never the cheapest electricity to buy from.
Yeah,
it was actually the most expensive one to buy from. And I'm like, so I'm over here telling people I can save them a buck or two, and I'm in it because, you know, I could help people. I'm like, I felt so not cheated,
dirty.
But I felt like
dirty.
I felt stupid because I was blinded by the fact that
it's like someone who pats you on the back telling you, hey, go talk to that girl over there, but they put a kick me sign on your back as he did it.
Yeah, because I was blinded by the fact that you know, William, a married man, was working for them, you know, and I'm like, so I was telling myself, like, this isn't a scam, it's not a pyramid scheme of any sorts. And then later on, when we had William back on, he was telling me that he quit because of ethical reasons. And I'm like, yeah.
You know what? That reminds me so, and I think I've talked about it before. You know that chaga mushroom craze? The Four Sigmatic mushrooms that Joe Rogan, take a shot, sells on his, like, he promotes them a lot. It's called Four Sigmatic, right? When I was about 19 years old, there was somebody who's like, hey, have you heard of this mushroom coffee? It's supposed to help. There's reports of it helping with cancer, fight cancer cells, help with the immune system, help boost energy, and it's got half the caffeine. All this shit, right, that we hear now promoted by fucking the biggest name in podcasting. So I went to this meeting and sat down for an hour lecture about this coffee. And it was literally put down on the paper. Like, they handed me a paper that said, this is you at the top. If you get 2 friends to join and they sell, you get a portion of their sales. If they get more people to join, you get a portion of their sales as well. So the paper was literally a fucking pyramid. Here for the camera. That's what it was. Literally a fucking pyramid. That's what it was. It was a fucking pyramid scheme. And now it is the biggest fucking company that Joe Rogan fucking promotes. And I could have been in on it. So at what point are you fucking being scammed? And at what point is it just a fucking business opportunity?
Yeah, the reason why...
I would have had to buy my own product. The only thing that makes a difference is that it got popular.
Well, look at Herbalife.
Just because it's a successful... Exactly.
Yeah.
There are successful pyramid schemes, but they're only successful for the people at the top. And it's not like... that they sell it to you as if it's like a get-rich-quick scheme. Like, oh no, it's that easy. You just get... Yeah, but no. Nobody around you wants to buy that shit.
Yep.
You have to find people that were as gullible and as needy as you at the time that you're like, oh my God, what a great endeavor. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to run with it for like a month. And then if they're lucky, they got one sale. But nobody, they never target the kind of people that are willing to stick through this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Origami Owl, that's something my mom does. Actually, there's a friend of the family who actually won a Jeep through that company. It's the same thing. You buy your product, you sell it. It's Avon. You know, so there are successful companies. It's not like... I find it hard to believe that pyramid schemes are inherently evil or inherently bad, but they are not inherently easy to fucking do, which is how they're sold. And they're always a little bit culty, dude. Like, even the origami owl stuff, my wife is super into it. I won't let her sell it, but she likes to buy it. My mom, like, you don't see them wearing any other jewelry. It's almost blasphemous if they're wearing anything else. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Herbalife. Could you imagine an Herbalife person going into a fucking Vitamin World store and buying some other supplements? Their fucking coworkers or their friends would chew them the fuck out. And I've seen it happen. We have family members that have been fucking Herbalife sellers. They get out and all of a sudden they're literally ostracized from the community. They're like, oh, well, you just gave up. You don't like us in it. You don't think that we're like, it's real fucking weird. Like, people get so insulated from the rest of the world when they join these kind of programs. And let me tell you something. I am no better. I am fucking doing yoga, Frank. I'm doing yoga, the epitome of like cultishness. But it's right up there with like Mormonism. You know what I mean? Our Church of Latter-day Saints, as they like to be known now. Now Mormonism is almost like a slur, apparently. I had a meeting with some the other day. They're great. Love them. But it's the same thing as yoga. Like, there are positive kind of culty things and there are negative kind of culty things. If you follow the more positive ones, people are usually turning their blind eye and being okay with you doing that kind of shit. Especially if it's in an endeavor to help the community. Like the Four Sigmatic, just like the origami owl, you know, cheap, pretty, inexpensive, beautiful items that women like. Like, why wouldn't you want to sell it, right? If you can, but you have to be discerning. I don't know, man. That's one that I'll always be on the fence about, those pyramid style companies.
Yeah, the reason they're called fucking Ponzi schemes is because of this guy. I can't remember his first name. It was probably
something Ponzi.
Well,
you remember that movie Bernie with? I think it was Bernie with
Jack Black.
With Jack Black, yeah, he's like the polka guy, and he's doing the whole Bernie Madoff thing. He's taking money from some people, telling him that he's going to invest it, and he doesn't actually invest it. He just gets a bigger investment from somebody else and uses that money to pay off the first person. And that's exactly what Bernie Madoff did with the whole stock market.
Yeah, so Ponzi, he did it with calling cards.
What do you mean calling?
Calling cards to call back to Ireland. I think he targeted the Irish Americans. They were always Irish Americans.
Calling card, like U.S. out of country calling cards.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that work?
He ended up taking the whole town for their money, and he left town.
And the cards didn't actually do anything?
Nope.
So he would leave, say the cards are coming in the mail, and the cards never come in the mail? Wow. I haven't looked into that one, the actual root of Ponzi schemes.
Yeah, I think it was in the Discovery Channel, but something about probably one of the crime podcasts that's covered it.
There's so many of fucking podcasts now. I'm starting 2 more. Have I told you about that?
Yeah.
Have we talked about it on the podcast at
No.
all? Yeah, so I'm going to be starting 2 more podcasts, so I'll go ahead and end on this, I guess, because what else do we got to talk about? Any other fucking crazy jobs you could think of?
Bait. Being the bait. Like, they throw you out, then, okay, fucking wait till the lion, crocodile.
Well, leech collectors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what they were. They were living bait for the leeches. So, I don't think they do that, though. They just throw you out for a lion to come, and they're like, hey, just stand there, you'll be okay. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Frank?
That's all I could come up with.
Human bait. Like, okay, yeah, we're done with this episode. I gave you a chance to end it on a strong note, and as always, you did not let me down.
Well, I was gonna say,
Trying
hang
to
the
stay
guy
positive.
by a rope, and wait till the fucking dinosaur shows up, and then pull him up.
Oh, there's one more job I wanted to bring up, though, before we end this episode. Sin Eaters. Have you heard of these?
There's a Spider-Man villain called the Sin Eater.
The Sin Eater?
Yeah.
A Spider-Man villain? Really? What's he about?
He, get this, eats the sins.
Right? How, though? And what's
He's
the
got
point?
a magic
How
shotgun.
is he a villain?
Oh, because he killed the wolf, the top lady, the wolf.
But how does that make him a villain, though?
Because he killed her. What the fuck else did he do?
There's plenty of superheroes that accidentally kill someone or intentionally kill somebody.
Intentionally because of her sins. So.
Oh, well, sounds like he was just playing Dexter.
Yeah.
Serial killer killing serial killers kind of thing. Well, a sin eater in real life, apparently it was a tradition that when a person died, you would place food or a spirit of wine or something at the coffin, and the sins of the person would be absorbed into the food. But of course, if you just left the food and wine there, it would deteriorate and would just go back into the world, and there was no accounting for it. Or it would return itself back into the decaying body and into the spirit that would carry it. So you would pay a sin eater to come into the church, eat the food or consume the wine. So they would get paid for the free meal, basically, to consume these sin-filled delicacies. And often just bread and wine, simple shit. But if you're a beggar and have nothing else to do, it's a pretty fucking good gig, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and often these people would be like, they would be thought of as like, oh well, they carry the sin now. They're obviously not normal, okay people to be around. So they'd be like treated like lepers and just kind of
so that's the Sin Eater's new origin story. They ditched his original origin story and they made it that his parents were part of a cult. It was a cult, some shit, and so then they did the whole ceremony of the sin eating ceremony.
No kidding, what I just described.
And they went back inside, just left the fruits there, and an actual spirit came and ate the sins, and then saw this little boy and got inside the little boy, and now he's the sin eater.
Interesting.
Yeah, walks around with a shotgun.
I want to check that one out.
Yeah, I got a few comics, the recent ones.
In your vehicle?
Not in my vehicle.
I'd be surprised.
Like they're in my room. I haven't packed them yet.
You should bring your comics over one day and we'll do a comic book episode. I've got a box that we can go through. I'll show you my more expensive ones.
Yeah, I'll bring you the Sin Eater series. It's just recent.
Cool.
Just like last
fun.
month.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Completely Inappropriate Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. What? You guys?
I forgot to bring your fucking candy.
Candy. Oh, yeah, Halloween candy.
Yeah.
You promised me Halloween candy weeks ago. Oh, well, that's all right. Next time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is good. I love that reaction you had too. I thought it had something to do with the podcast, but no, you just care so much about me. You're adorable. Find us at completelyinappropriatepodcast@gmail.com, at CI Podcast on Instagram, at completelyinap with 1P on Twitter. Find us at BitChute, YouTube, or anywhere you find us, you found us. Leave us a 5-star review, as we said at the beginning, just filled with love. Because motherfuckers, we love you. Don't you fucking know that? Just take the love and give it back. That's how this works. This is how the world should be. Frank, what do we tell the lovely motherfuckers out there listening to us today?
Be excellent to each other.
Find you're happy. Try to be better today than you were yesterday. We love you. Much love. Take it easy. Namaste, bitches. Say bye, Frank.